comes out, and it's really exciting to read that.
Okay, Peter Evans from Toowoomba now. What we might do now is have a look at some snippets from the debates. What I'll do is I'll push out a web page to you. This should open in another window.
My name is Pauline and I am the chair and the timekeeper adjudicator, and I am the chair and the timekeeper adjudicator.
And when that window is opened on your other computer, that other window is open, you can just play through it. That video goes for about 4 minutes, but you can skip.
My name is Pauline and I am the chair and the timekeeper adjudicator is Sam Moffat. The topic for today's debate is that the law is best defined as a formal, logical, closed system of legal rules. It is free of values and highly objective.
Also, just pasted
hoping
into
to convince
the
you of the truth of this statement is the affirmative
team,
team, and trying to show that this statement is false is the negative.
You could, if you wanted, just type text messages in the text box.
The speaking time for this debate is 5 minutes. A single warning bell will sound at 3 minutes, and a double bell will sound at 5 minutes, and a triple bell at 5 minutes 30.
That laws have evolved from customary law. However, in Australia's society, which is far too varied and diverse for this to be the case, it is
Jeffrey, yeah, you've said you can type URLs in the text box that are active links. Are people playing that video? And
possible to identify core values with a variety of religious groups, political persuasions, and various races and cultures.
I make points that the negative team has failed to provide a better definition. We're not arguing that
from Pauline
each word can be defined differently, but what we're affirming is that the law is best described.
And there's an adjudication at about 3 minutes,
closed
and then a bit
system of legal rules that is free of values and highly objective. And it is.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are here to debate that Australian values should be named and agreed upon by all that live here. We, the affirmative team, would like to take this opportunity to define some of the key terms in this topic. Australian values are defined as accepted behaviours and beliefs shared by all Australian citizens.
Chairperson, adjudicator, ladies and gentlemen. The topic of this debate asks a question that has been asked for many years. In considering this, an important question is what we place more importance on.
Sure that everything is working. There are also other people in the world that come along at 5 minutes to midnight and hope that it will work, and maybe don't have the experience. Pauline raised a point. One of the important things about Wimba is that it allows us to have a phone simulcast. So if they've got problems with their audio, they can still just ring in via the telephone. If you click on the blue telephone within the Wimba media bar, you'll see telephone numbers that you can dial in on.
Ensuring every guilty person goes to jail, or ensuring every innocent
orient students to. One of the ways that we orient students to the debating experience is give them an opportunity to come along to some Wimba orientation sessions, and they will generally have students from all across the university, but there will be an opportunity for them to use Wimba as to get some experience with it. So here's one of the things that we've done. We establish informal Wimba rooms that anyone could use at any stage, and that allows the students, gives the students time that they can prepare the debates and work in their own groups. We also have formal Wimba rooms in the courses, and that's where the formal part of the debate actually occurs. there questions that people would have about the way... Actually, I'll just show another slide, 2 slides, and then we'll get some questions. One of the things that we did was to prepare some PowerPoint slides that guided people through the debate process. So one of these slides has got a debate timer there, and it rings a bell and shows an indication if once they're past 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 5 minutes 30. Pauline, we can hear you typing frantically there. You might want to turn your lock talk off.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, we also ended up putting together a JavaScript version of that debate timer that we can show in the bottom branding frame of Wimba, and that worked quite well as well. The URL for those things are given on the slide there. Yep, Jeff mentioned there are other virtual classroom tools around, and yeah, there's a large number of tools, and many students are using things like Skype anyway. One of the advantages of having an institutional approach to using virtual classrooms, where the university gets a particular tool like Wimba, is that we can assume that all students, or not assume, we can, it's easier to be more confident that all students will have experience with that. And it's easier to convince students to use it because they know that they will use it in future courses next year or the year later. The other advantage is that because their login is associated with their USQ username and password, they can be more confident that they are talking to another student within their course. If they're using Skype, for example, that persona is not logged to their USQ username or password. Kelly, yeah, the better students will always do practice before the debates, and that's one of the reasons why we've established these informal Wimba rooms that the students can go into at any stage and practice as much as they want. And Pauline made the comment that often the students will actually continue to use that informal Wimba room after the debate because they're starting to make connections with other students. So it becomes a study room. And again, one of the strengths of Wimba is the fact that we can establish 5,000 rooms and people can use them whenever and wherever they want. Are there other questions about the technology or the tools or support of things like Wimba? If you have a question, just put your hand and then I'll call you to the microphone. Come on, team. It would be great to have a question.
Peter, can I just suggest we talk about the non-technological aspect of it, which is the bell, because the one thing that Wimba doesn't have that Illuminate did have was a nice little bell. And so we use a system where we have, and if you can see in the picture, yes, it is a short bell. And so they get this bell, they get one bell at 3 minutes, 2 bells at 5 minutes, and 3 bells at 5 minutes 30, and it's like this. And that's their timer, as well as the timer that Peter's just talked you through down the bottom. Sorry, Peter, back to you.
Yep, no, excellent point. Yeah, in many ways, let's be realistic about what we can achieve. In the bell, the JavaScript timer that I'm circling there on the screen, it had the possibility of ringing a bell and putting a dialog box on the screen, but in many ways, simply getting someone to use a physical bell is a much better correlate of what actually happens in the real debating situation. Of course, students could still use this JavaScript bell in their practice. Now we might go on to looking at some of the outcomes, and maybe we'll get Pauline to talk to that. And thank you very much for coming along to the session, even though you've had to rush off on a jet plane. Pauline, do you want to talk to the learnings page?
Okay, well, thanks for that, Peter. So I think it's just nice to leave for some questions. Obviously, there's not everything that we've covered here, but I'd just like to say what are some of the positive outcomes that we've had from it, is that technology has made this possible, and the benefits for the external or off-campus students is they form these study groups, hopefully within their geographic location, but if not, they can use the technology to still meet up. Putting a face on other students was quite a profound experience for a number of students the first time that happened, and it overcomes isolation. Now, there's an interesting thing where some off-campus students study in that mode because they do prefer to be individualists and go by themselves, so they sometimes can get a bit of a shock when they come to a course and it goes, you're going to have a team oral assessment, and they go, well, how am I going to do that? And you go, well, ambiguity, hold, and you will find out how to do it, and we work them through it. But for on-campus students in a first-year subject as well, the team does lead to social cohesion, and they love coming along and watching the other debates and engaging with the Wimba sessions. And one of the questions there was about timekeeping, and we use those students to be timekeepers and chairs for other debates and encourage them to participate. So there's a whole lot of social stuff going on around it. So it's building tolerance, it's increasing public speaking skills and so forth. What's the student response? Well, you know, that's probably not an entirely fair image because the students are scared of technology. And interestingly, it's not just the mature age students. I've found young students that are. So we do give them the option. They can come on campus, and some of them being prepared to drive a very long way to come on campus to deliver, to avoid using technology. We do run these orientation sessions. They run throughout the semester, but we encourage them to go at the beginning. I am actually thinking of including attendance at the orientation session in a small way in the marking to just add that extra carrot to it, to get them over the hurdle to click on the Wimba room and open it up. But having said that, the students that try it, that have never touched technology maybe before, older, we have a lot of female mature age students, they just find it profound and they go through it. And there's some resistance initially. They go, oh, no, I can't do this. And you go, look, just bear with me, we'll get you through there. And they just love coming out the other end. So, you know, there's a student in the middle that's used a number of different technologies. So they're fine. But other students have found, wow, you know, this was just a very revealing process. So that's student reaction to the assessment. So Peter, you have a point? You want to say something?
Yeah, one of the points that I wanted to make on the student support and encouraging students to use this is quite often if you can offer orientation sessions and then get a couple of key students involved in it, they will jolly along the other students and say, and informally encourage other students to come along. No, this isn't too bad. If you come along, if you learn how to use it, we can run a study group whenever we want. We can start to use it for our own purposes. Jeff, he's got a comment or a question.